Most people think power is loud, but the real kind doesn't make a sound. It walks into the room quietly, and everyone feels it before they even look up. Most people think authority is something you show. They believe you have to raise your voice, take up space, and prove your worth before anyone listens. But true authority works in silence. It doesn't push, it pulls. It doesn't need to announce itself, because presence alone is enough. When someone with real authority walks into a room, the energy shifts before a word is spoken. People sense something they can't describe. It isn't fear, it isn't admiration, it's weight. A calm, grounded weight that demands attention without asking for it. That is the weight of stillness. Stillness makes people uncomfortable because it exposes their own restlessness. Most people rush to fill silence, to move, to talk, to prove. But the one who remains still controls the tempo. He slows the room down until everyone moves to his rhythm. That is effortless dominance. It comes not from aggression, but from the ability to remain unshaken. You don't chase validation. You let the world come to you. You don't fight to be heard. You make people quiet themselves to listen. The difference between someone seeking attention and someone commanding it is emotional control. The one who seeks attention needs others to respond. The one who commands attention creates an atmosphere that others respond to naturally. You can see it in their face, their posture, their eyes. There's no strain, no tension, just quiet certainty. Stillness is not the absence of energy. It's the containment of it. The more you contain, the more powerful you appear, because people can feel the energy you're not wasting. Most people believe movement shows confidence, but it often reveals insecurity. True confidence doesn't need to move quickly. It takes its time. It observes before acting. When you walk into a room, slow down. Let your gaze travel calmly. Let your shoulders relax. Let silence follow your steps. You'll notice how others begin to adjust unconsciously. They speak softer, they move slower, they wait for your cue. This is what effortless authority feels like. It's not about dominance, it's about gravitational pull. Stillness also means you don't rush to respond. In conversation, in conflict, in decision-making, the pause is your power. When you pause, people project meaning into the silence. They start wondering what you're thinking, what you'll do next, whether they went too far. The pause makes them reveal themselves. You don't need to control people through words when silence does it for you. Because when you hold still while others rush to fill space, they expose their own weakness. The truth is, most people equate noise with strength, but noise is often a disguise for anxiety. Stillness, on the other hand, is rooted in certainty. It says, I don't need to prove myself because I already know. And that quiet knowing, that absence of reaction, makes people lean in. They sense that you are grounded in something they can't shake. That's what makes stillness magnetic. It's not about doing more. It's about needing less. When you no longer chase attention, attention begins to chase you. People believe influence comes from what they say, but real authority comes from what they project. It's not your words that make people listen, it's the energy behind them. Energy is the invisible message people feel before they hear you speak. It's the calm in your tone, the steadiness in your eyes, the control in your movements. Before anyone decides if they trust your words, they decide if they trust your energy. That decision happens in seconds, long before logic arrives. This is why some people command attention without saying much, while others speak endlessly and are ignored. It's not about how well you explain yourself. It's about how grounded your energy feels while you do it. Over-explaining kills influence because it signals doubt. When you rush to clarify, to justify, to prove, what you were really saying is that you don't believe your own words carry enough weight. The more you explain, the more your power leaks. People stop listening to what you say and start watching why you need to say it. They read your tone, your breathing, your urgency. Every unnecessary sentence weakens your frame. The strongest voices are calm, not because they have all the answers, but because they don't need validation. They know that belief speaks louder than words. There is a quiet authority in conserving your energy. When you stop trying to convince, you start to attract. Your stillness becomes magnetic. People feel it when you walk into a room. They sense that your energy isn't scattered, that it's gathered within you, contained, deliberate. You don't rush to fill silence, you don't compete to be heard. You let your energy speak first, and people adjust. That's why some of the most powerful people say very little, yet everyone listens when they do. Their words carry the weight of stored energy, not drained emotion. When you over-explain, you invite others to judge you. You hand them the frame, the power to define your meaning. But when you speak with control, when your tone is slow and your energy steady, you hold the frame. The listener adapts to your pace. They hang on to your pauses because your silence feels deliberate. That's how authority works. It doesn't demand attention. It earns it through presence. The less energy you waste defending yourself, the more energy people feel when you finally speak. You can test this anywhere. Speak softly and mean every word. Slow your breathing. Keep your expression calm. People will start leaning forward to hear you. Their focus will sharpen because your energy invites attention instead of chasing it. That's what makes authority effortless. It's not volume that commands respect, it's conviction. When your energy says, "I don't need to prove," your words gain power. Influence is not built through explanations. It's built through presence. People might forget your sentences, but they will never forget how your energy made them feel. So protect it, conserve it, refine it. Because when your energy speaks with calm certainty, your silence becomes louder than any speech. Most people rush when they speak. They fear silence because they think it means losing attention. But silence, when used with purpose, is what creates power. The pause between your words is where authority lives. It's where people process your confidence, your calm, your certainty. The pause says you're not in a hurry to be understood. You expect to be. When you speak slowly, when you let your words breathe, you make others breathe with you. You control the tempo of the room without ever raising your voice. That's real authority, not through force, but through rhythm. When you pause, something strange happens. People lean in. Their minds fill the silence with attention. They start waiting for your next word as if it already matters. The pause makes your sentences heavier, your message sharper. It tells everyone that you're comfortable with space, that you don't need noise to feel powerful. Rushing signals nervousness. Slowing down signals certainty. The person who controls the pace controls the perception of power. You can see this in every powerful speaker. They never rush. They never fill every second with sound. They know silence isn't empty. It's magnetic. It pulls people closer. It gives weight to everything that follows. The average person talks too much, explains too much, fills every gap because they fear being misunderstood. But the person who pauses is saying without words, "I'm not worried if you get it now. You'll think about it later." That confidence changes the air. It makes people see you differently. The pause also protects your energy. When you take your time, you speak from clarity, not emotion. You allow yourself to think, to observe, to read the room. You give yourself a fraction of a second to remain centered while others rush ahead. That's the hidden advantage. The faster they go, the more mistakes they make. The slower you go, the more composed you appear. Stillness always beats speed when it comes to influence. There's also a deeper layer. The pause unsettles people who rely on reaction. They expect instant replies, instant validation, instant defense. When you pause instead, you throw them off balance. They start second, guessing themselves, wondering what you're thinking, what you'll say next. The silence becomes your weapon. You don't need to fight to win the moment. You just let time do it for you, because every second of calm you hold, while others rush, exposes who's in control. Learn to use pauses the way others use noise. Let a question hang before answering. Let a statement breathe before explaining. Let silence sit after you've spoken. It makes your words echo longer. The pause turns short phrases into impact. It turns simple sentences into presence. It turns moments into memory. People will forget fast talkers, but they remember the ones who made them stop and feel the weight of quiet. When you slow down, others slow down with you. You draw them into your rhythm, into your gravity. That is control without effort, and that is the power in the pause. Most people lose power not because they lack confidence, but because they can't control their emotions when pressure rises. They react too quickly, speak too soon, and let their feelings dictate their tone. The truth is, reactivity is the death of authority. Every time you flinch, argue, or defend, you show the world that someone else can move you. The ones who lead without effort do something different. They stay emotionally neutral. They don't match chaos with chaos or anger with anger. They stay still, calm, unbothered, and that calmness feels like strength. People trust it, people fear it, and most importantly, people follow it. Emotional neutrality isn't coldness, it's control. It means you can experience emotion without being ruled by it. It means you can stay centered while others spiral. When people lose composure around you, they expect you to lose it too. The moment you don't, you separate yourself from them. You rise above their emotional level, and in doing so, you become the steady point everyone looks toward. In storms, people don't follow the loudest voice, they follow the calmest one. That's what emotional authority looks like. When you are neutral, you become unpredictable. No one knows what will shake you because nothing seems to. That unpredictability creates quiet fear. It makes people cautious, careful with their words, deliberate with their tone. They can't play games with you because you give them no emotional reaction to work with. Every manipulator feeds on reaction. They push buttons, they provoke, they try to see if you'll bite. The moment you don't, their power collapses. Because you've shown them that you're not part of the game, you're the one watching it. Neutrality also builds trust. People may not always like you, but they'll respect you because they know what to expect. You don't swing between moods, you don't explode, you don't crumble. Your steadiness makes others feel safe. In work, in relationships, in leadership, the most respected person is the one who keeps their emotional temperature stable. You don't have to be warm all the time, you just have to be consistent. Consistency is the rarest form of confidence. You can practice neutrality in small moments. When someone challenges you, breathe before answering. When someone insults you, observe their tone before reacting. When something goes wrong, pause before fixing it. Every second of delay between impulse and action strengthens your control. That pause becomes your armor. It gives you the upper hand because while everyone else reacts on instinct, you respond with intention. The calm person always wins because calmness is contagious. The room mirrors the one who refuses to panic. When others shout, your quiet becomes louder. When others rush, your patience becomes power. This doesn't mean you suppress emotion. It means you master it. You let it move through you without letting it command you. The unshakable core isn't emotionless, it's composed. And in a world addicted to reaction, composure is the rarest form of dominance. True confidence doesn't shout, it doesn't chase, it doesn't need to prove. It simply exists, calm and centered, like gravity. It pulls people in without effort. Most people confuse confidence with performance. They think it's about bold words, firm handshakes, or constant self-promotion. But the truth is, the most confident people rarely try to look confident. They don't perform, they radiate. You can feel it before they speak. It's in the way they move, the way they pause, the way they look at the world, as if nothing can threaten what they already know about themselves. That quiet certainty is what makes confidence magnetic. Confidence without aggression creates comfort. It doesn't compete with others, it absorbs them. When you meet someone who's truly confident, your own guard begins to lower. You feel drawn in, not intimidated. Their presence gives you permission to relax. That's because real confidence isn't built on ego, it's built on peace. The confident person doesn't need to dominate the room because they already belong in it. They don't demand attention, because attention naturally flows toward what feels sure of itself. People sense certainty. They gravitate to it because it feels like safety in a world full of noise and doubt. Confidence isn't about what you say, it's about what you don't feel the need to say. The more you know yourself, the less you need to explain yourself. That silence, that restraint, creates a sense of depth that words can't match. You don't become powerful by trying to prove you are. You become powerful by removing the need to prove anything at all. That's the shift that turns confidence from something loud into something gravitational. Think about the people who command rooms effortlessly. They don't move fast, they don't interrupt, they don't chase approval. They sit, they observe, they listen, and when they finally speak, everyone listens too. Their calmness tells the world they don't fear silence. Their eyes say they don't need permission. That's why people respect them. Confidence doesn't push others down, it makes others rise just to meet it. The mistake most people make is thinking confidence comes from constant self. assurance. It doesn't. It comes from self-acceptance. When you stop fighting to hide your flaws, when you stop trying to impress, you free yourself from anxiety. You stop needing to win every conversation. You stop needing to defend every choice. You become light, but that lightness carries weight. People feel that freedom and are drawn to it. Confidence becomes gravity when it's quiet, steady, and natural. You don't demand space, you create it. You become the center of calm in the middle of chaos. You stop performing and start existing, and that existence alone makes people adjust to you instead of the other way around. The loud are noticed for a moment, the calm are remembered for a lifetime. True confidence doesn't convince, it attracts. It doesn't chase the world, it makes the world come closer. The most powerful voices in history didn't shout, they spoke with precision. Every word carried weight because every word was chosen. The authoritative voice is never loud, it's focused. It doesn't try to convince, it simply states, and the silence that follows becomes part of the message. Most people speak to fill space, they talk too much, explain too much, repeat themselves out of fear that their first sentence wasn't enough. But the truth is, the more you say, the less people remember. When you use too many words, your message becomes noise. When you speak with precision, your message becomes impact. Authority doesn't come from how long you speak, it comes from how clearly you speak. Precision is what separates the confident from the insecure. The insecure person tries to win approval with detail, with repetition, with endless explanations. The confident person uses only what's necessary and then stops. They let the silence do the rest. That silence feels like certainty. It makes people lean in because it suggests you don't need their agreement to feel right. Precision isn't about speaking less. It's about speaking only when something adds value. When you choose your words carefully, people trust you more. They sense that you've thought before speaking, that you don't waste energy trying to impress. Your restraint tells them that your mind is ordered, your emotions stable, and your time valuable. That's what makes others listen. People respect precision because it signals control. And control is what every room quietly follows. When you master your words, you master perception. Speaking with precision also protects your power. Every extra sentence is a chance to be misunderstood, misquoted, or misjudged. When you say less, you leave less for others to twist. The vague talker gets trapped by their own words, while the precise speaker leaves no openings. Their clarity ends the conversation before it can turn against them. That's how leaders maintain authority without arguing. They speak once, they speak clearly, and they never repeat themselves. Think of precision as a form of discipline. It's not just about communication, it's about mindset. A precise thinker doesn't rush, doesn't react, doesn't drown in emotion. They wait, they observe, and they strike with exact timing. When they finally speak, everyone listens because the timing feels intentional. Even a short phrase can sound powerful when delivered with control. That's how a few words can cut deeper than 100. People don't remember long explanations, they remember sharp sentences. The phrases that echo in their mind are the ones delivered with purpose. The loud may grab attention for a moment, but the precise shape thought that lingers. You don't persuade by talking more. You persuade by saying the right thing once. That's the art of authority. The fewer words you use, the more each word matters. And when every word matters, you no longer need to speak loudly to be heard. Power is not proven in comfort. It's revealed in conflict. The way you hold yourself when everything is shaking determines how much authority you truly have. Anyone can appear confident when the room agrees with them, but real composure is tested when you're accused, challenged, or doubted. Most people panic under pressure. They rush to defend themselves, to correct the story, to win back approval. But every time you react, you confirm that someone else has power over your emotions. The ones who lead effortlessly know this truth. They never give that satisfaction. When challenged, they don't explain, they don't argue, they don't flinch, they stay still. That stillness becomes their shield. It tells the world they are untouchable. Composure under fire isn't about pretending not to care, it's about mastering your emotional temperature. When someone attacks you and you remain calm, you don't just protect your image, you expose theirs. The louder they become, the smaller they look. Their anger starts to reveal insecurity, while your calmness begins to feel like dominance. The energy shifts instantly. The audience stops focusing on the accusation and starts watching reactions. The one who stays composed always wins that silent contest. People trust the steady hand in the storm. They follow the one who doesn't break. Silence is your greatest weapon in moments of pressure. When you say nothing, you leave space for others to overplay their hand. The one who speaks first often loses control of the frame. Let them talk. Let them explain. Let them sweat. Every unnecessary word they say weakens their credibility. Every second you remain calm strengthens yours. Because the truth is, silence paired with presence is more intimidating than any defense. It makes people question themselves. It makes them feel exposed. They begin to wonder if they went too far, if they misjudged you, if they've made a fool of themselves. That's how composure turns attack into self-destruction. The calm person doesn't need to win arguments. They win moments. They understand that perception matters more than persuasion. In a heated situation, it's not about who's right, it's about who looks in control. If you stay relaxed while others unravel, the room silently decides you're the authority. Your calmness becomes contagious. Others start mirroring your tone, matching your rhythm, following your lead without realizing it. That's how leadership is built in real time, not by shouting commands, but by embodying stability when others lose it. Every test of composure is a chance to rise. It's the moment where restraint replaces reaction, where silence replaces defense, where presence replaces proof. The strongest leaders understand that control isn't shown through dominance, but through detachment. You can't control what's said about you, but you can control what you give energy to. When you stop feeding chaos, it burns itself out. That's the quiet victory. Because in the end, the world doesn't remember who shouted the loudest. It remembers who stayed standing when the noise stopped. Authority isn't built in your actions, it's built in the space around them. The most powerful people in any room are not always the loudest or the most active. They are the ones whose energy shifts the atmosphere without trying. Authority is not what you do, it's what people feel when you do nothing. It's the stillness before you speak, the calm in your posture, the quiet certainty in your eyes. The aura of control is invisible, but everyone senses it. It makes others slow their movements, lower their voices, and adjust their behavior without being told. That is the essence of power, command without commands. The first step to building that aura is timing. The powerful never rush. They understand that control is revealed in how they manage time, especially in silence. They wait before responding, before entering a room, before making decisions. Every pause tells others that they are not reactive, that they are operating from intention. When you don't rush, people assume you have something worth waiting for. The impatient seem desperate, the calm seem certain. The moment you master your timing, you begin to master perception. Posture is another form of unspoken dominance. How you carry yourself communicates more than words ever could. Straight spine, open shoulders, slow movements, each gesture signals control. People instinctively respect what appears composed. When your body language is relaxed but grounded, you project a quiet strength that doesn't need defense. Fidgeting, crossing arms, slouching, these small signs reveal insecurity. But when you stand or sit with calm ease, your body becomes a statement of self-assurance. You don't need to claim the space, you are the space. Then comes the gaze. Eyes reveal everything. The one who can hold eye contact without strain, without aggression, transmits power effortlessly. It's not about staring people down, it's about staying steady when others look away. A calm gaze says, "I'm not threatened and I'm not seeking approval." People can feel that energy, and they respond by giving you the respect your silence demands. Most people look around nervously when they talk, scattering their power. But the ones who maintain focus anchor the room. Their gaze creates gravity. Tone completes the aura. The tone of your voice can either scatter energy or center it. The authoritative voice is slow, measured, and grounded. It doesn't rush to fill silence, it uses it. It doesn't rise or tremble. It remains steady, like a calm current. When your tone is controlled, people listen differently. They feel your words before they analyze them. You don't need to demand attention. Your calm delivery earns it naturally. The aura of control is not about manipulation, it's about self-mastery. When your movements, words, and emotions operate in harmony, you stop chasing influence because influence begins to orbit around you. You become the quiet center of gravity others unconsciously align with. That's the secret of authority. Not what you do, but what your stillness makes others feel. The highest form of authority is when you no longer need to show it. It's when your presence alone shapes the behavior of others without a single word or demand. This is the final evolution, where influence becomes natural and control becomes silent. You stop chasing respect because respect begins to orbit around you. It's not something you win through effort, it's something you attract through being. At this level, you've moved beyond tactics and performance. You don't think about how to lead, how to be calm, or how to speak with power. You simply exist in alignment with who you are, and that alignment radiates strength that no one can ignore. Authority without trying comes from total inner stability. You've mastered the urge to prove, to explain, to convince. You no longer need validation because you understand your value doesn't depend on recognition. You walk into rooms not to be noticed, but to observe. You speak only when you have something worth saying, and when you do, people listen not because you force them, but because your energy commands it. There's no performance left, no desire to appear powerful. You've become power itself. At this stage, you no longer react to attacks or praise. Both are just noise that pass through your calm. You don't rise when admired, and you don't shrink when criticized. You've realized that true strength is not the absence of emotion, but the absence of dependency on emotion. Whether the world claps or condemns, you stay the same. That consistency is what makes people trust you, even when they don't fully understand you. You've become something rare, a person whose authority isn't borrowed from a position or title, but anchored in presence alone. Effortless authority doesn't mean you dominate. It means you guide without needing to control. Others begin to mirror your calm, your pace, your tone. They lower their voices when you speak softly. They think before responding because you make silence feel powerful. This is what it means to move from influence to inevitability. Your energy sets the tone of the environment. People align naturally because your stillness becomes the standard of behavior. The secret is that by the time you reach this point, you've stopped trying to be powerful. You've stopped strategizing, stopped analyzing, stopped worrying about how you're perceived. You've transcended the game by no longer needing to play it. That's the paradox of mastery. The less you try to control outcomes, the more control you gain. The less you speak of power, the more power you hold. When you live with quiet certainty, the world adjusts to you. You don't need to demand attention or approval, because your existence already defines both. You've reached the state where effort ends and aura begins. People don't follow you because they have to. They follow because something in your stillness reminds them of what real strength feels like. Maybe this video helped you see yourself, or someone you know in a different way. Feel free to let us know via a like or in the comments. And if you want more wisdom and guidance in becoming a better version of yourself, subscribe now. This is the moment to start becoming the person you really want to be.